Namaste to all students. Myself, Javin Dr. Khushbu Verma from Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today we are going to discuss cell death. This session is related to cell biology course of program BTech FBT and BSc FST second sem. In this lecture, we will cover two different ways by which cell can die. First one is the apoptosis, which is also known as programmed cell death, and second one is necrosis, which is unplanned cell death. It is easy to tell these two apart morphologically under the microscope, as we can show by this image. So here I'm sharing the screen with this diagrammatic flowchart, where you can simply see this is a normal cell having nucleus organelles. So it can go for the two processes for cell death if it is damaged. So small bulbs for the necrosis, small bulbs start to form. The structure of the nucleus start to change. These are the bulbs. Now the bulbs fuse and become larger. No organelles are located in the bulbs. Further, the cell membrane rupture and release the cell content, and organelles are now not function. So this is unplanned death. On the other hand, if we talk about the apoptosis, so small blebs will start to form, then nucleus begin to break apart and the DNA breaks into small pieces. The organelle are also located in the blebs, and the cell breaks into several apoptotic bodies and organelles are still function. So these are basic difference in between necrosis and apoptosis. In necrosis, small blebs will be formed and nucleus structure will start to change. On the other hand, first of all, small blebs will start to form, and in the necrosis, bulb fuse and become larger. Organelles will not located into the blebs. On the other hand, in apoptosis, nucleus start to degrade, and organelles will also located in the blebs. And in the necrosis, cell membrane will be ruptured and cell content and organelles are not functions and cell content will be released. On the other hand, in the apoptosis, cell break into several apoptotic bodies and organelles are still functions. So this is the basic difference in between necrosis and apoptosis. So now come to the detailed information about necrosis and apoptosis. So necrosis is when cell die accidentally due to, say, trauma, for example, a poisonous spider bite, a lack of nutrient, for example, lack of blood supply. So necrosis begins with the cell swelling and the chromatin get digested. The plasma and organelle membranes are disrupted. The ER vacuolizes and the organelles break down completely. And finally, the cell lyses, spewing its intracellular content and elicting the immune response, which is also known as inflammation. Second type, which is programmed cell death, is apoptosis. Apoptosis can constitute cell suicide or cell murder. Cell will commit suicide when they lack any incoming survival signal in the form of trophic factors, or when they detect extensive DNA damage in their own nucleus. Cells will murder other cells to clear out unneeded cells or to eliminate potentially self-attacking immune cells. Either of these processes constitutes programmed cell death. During embryonic development, people have webbed hands and feet and tails. The cell that constitute those parts later apoptize. Apoptosis also goes on constantly in many tissues, including the intestines. Here, a stunning common detail about the apoptosis means there are major steps of apoptosis which can be followed for the cell death. First of all, cell shrinks, then cell fragments, cytoskeleton collapse, nuclear envelope disassemble, and cell release the apoptotic bodies. Notably, absent from this list is send out a signal. Apoptotic cells do not send any kind of a signal with one exception. They release apoptotic bodies and engulfment proteins to induce other cells, means phagocytic cells, to engulf the apoptotic bodies and break them down in their lysosomes. But this is not much of immune response. Now come to the discussion about the proteins which are important for apoptosis process. So first one is the killer proteins, which are capsase and proteins, and second one is the destruction protein that digest the DNA, fragment the cell, and break down the cytoskeleton. Third one protein is engulfment protein, which elect and promote phagocytosis by other cells. C. elegans has been the major model organism for understanding apoptosis both by forward and reverse genetics. Forward genetics is observing a phenotype and then determining which gene give rise to it, and reverse genetics is introducing a mutation into a known gene in order to see what the phenotype results. In mammals, apoptosis is governed chiefly by capsase, which is cysteine aspartic protease enzyme. The entire capsase pathway is post-translationally regulated. The capsase are always present in inactive form. They are also called procapsase in inactive form and containing a pro domain which contains a capsase recruitment domain card and can be activated by the cleavage process. This process allows a very quick response if cell suicide is needed. In order for apoptosis to occur, the initiator capsase must be cleaved and dimerized. Thus, activated, they must then cleave the effector capsase, triggering a capsase cascade. This amplifies the number of activated capsase in the cell. The effector capsase have many targets, including the nuclear lamella and cytoskeleton. There are both pro-survival and pro-apoptotic capsase, and they share many common domains. Pro-survival capsase have BH1, 2, 3, and 4. Pro-apoptosis capsase have either BH1, 2, 3, or just BH3. Inhibitor of apoptosis protein IAPS restrain both the initiator and effector capsase. They each have a zinc binding domain that binds directly to capsase, inhibiting their activity. However, there are also mitochondrial proteins called SMAC and diabello, which inhibits the inhibitors. Upon mitochondrial injury, they are released and will bind to the IAP inhibitor of apoptosis proteins, which freeing the capsase to go cause apoptosis process. Another collection of mitochondrial proteins called HTRA2/OMI, apoptosis inducing factor AIF, and endonuclease G can also be released and will cleave IAP. AIF also cause chromosome condensation and DNA fragmentation independent of capsase. Indeed, the mitochondria can central regulator for apoptosis process. Outer mitochondrial membrane proteins BCL2 and BS3 only proteins and BAX are involved. BAX can form a pore in the membrane to allow cytochrome C, normally located in the intermembrane space, out into the cytosol. BAX monomers move from the cytoplasm to the outer mitochondrial membrane, where they oligomerize and permit the influx of ion through this membrane. This has also been shown in vitro experiments when you can show that vesicles made of outer mitochondrial membranes are permeabilized in the presence of BAX. It is not currently known why this influx of ions lead to cytochrome C release. BCL2 prevents release of cytochrome C, thus blocking apoptosis. BCL2 was the first mammalian apoptosis gene which has to be cloned. In some lymphomas, it gets translocated to a position under a stronger promoter, causing overexpression that prevents the cancer cell from apoptosis and also bed and bed. Once cytochrome C is released, it's bind to APF1 apoptotic protease activating factor, causing the latter to hydrolyze the ATP in which it is usually bound, thus causing a conformational changes that activates the APF1 and triggers the capsid cascade. APF1 forms a disc-shaped haptamer called the wheel of death or apoptosome, which activates the capsid cascade. So this is the sum up of this session. And if you talk about competitive questions for this topic, so some questions which are very much important for this session is what is main fat of stem cell, and when does a chromosome exhibits maximum coiling, during pectination of meiosis, during anaphase of meiosis 1, during metaphase of meiosis, mitosis, and during the telophase of meiosis second. So these are the important questions by which you can understand the cell death program. You can also understand this apoptosis process by this flow diagram, for which I have already discussed in detail in our previous slides. You can simply see the apoptosis process by two pathways. It has been regulated. First one is the extrinsic pathway and second one is the intrinsic pathway. In the extrinsic pathway, these are the death receptor which are trailer and FES. They are having procaspase 8 and procaspase 10. When ligands come and bind to the receptor, they give the signal, and after getting the signal, these procaspase 8 and 10 will be activated and will be converted into the capsase 8 and 10. These capsases further activate the capsase 3 and 7, and on the other hand, they are activating the BID and converting it into the TBID. And this caspase 3 and 7 further go for the apoptosis process and leads the cell for the programmed cell death. On the other hand, if we talk about the intrinsic pathway, so intrinsic lethal stimuli are basically DNA damage, ER stress, hypoxia, and metabolic stress, which generates the intrinsic lethal stimuli. After getting the stimuli, this BS3 only proteins further activate the BAX and BAK. This BAX and BAK go for the mitochondria and they release cytochrome C and SMAC, SMAC. They release these two material from the mitochondria. So if we are talking about the cytochrome C, so it will go and bind to the apoptosome. This is APAF1 only, which are getting for the oligomerization. After completion of the oligomerization, it creates the apoptosome along with the cytochrome C. On the other hand, released as SMAC also inhibit the XI-AP. When this XI-AP inhibits, so it can also, when it is in higher level, so it can inhibit the caspase 9, but when SMAC is released from the mitochondria, so it will inhibit the XI-AP. Now the level of XI-AP is very low, so it can't inhibit the caspase 9. So on the other hand, apoptosome will activate the caspase 9. This caspase 9 further will activate the caspase 3 and 7. When in the normal conditions, XIAP also inhibits caspase 9 along with the caspase 3 and 7, but it is also inhibited by the SMAC in the intrinsic pathway. So when the level of XIAP is very low, so it is not able to inhibit caspase 9 and caspase 3 and 7. So pathway is very clear. These apoptosomes will activate the caspase 9. Then further, this caspase 9 will activate the caspase 3 and 7. After the activation of the caspase 3 and 7, it leads to the programmed cell death, and degradation of the cell membrane will happen and nucleus degradation will happen. So that's how intrinsic and extrinsic pathways are involved for the apoptosis process. So this is the sum up of this session, and this session is powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. If you have any query, then mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.